but they would protect State Department officials and diplomats. And they are the only company that never, ever lost principal. Principal being the person being protected. So that's how Blackwater, that's what the State Department contract at Blackwater was. These guys were on the State Department contract. They got in a shootout. Terrorists initiated it. And because of political reasons, they basically got rolled over.
As soon as we came to a stop, within a minute or less, I started hearing the pings on the side of my vehicle. And at the same time, I don't know if I heard Paul yell it out on the radio or just yell it out down the turret that there was a white Kia that was presenting a threat and it was coming towards the vehicle. So
4 Americans received lengthy prison sentences today for an infamous incident during the Iraq War. All 4 former Blackwater security contractors convicted in the killings of 14 unarmed Iraqis, including women and children, in Baghdad in 2007.
And it took years, though, too. I mean, they weren't even, if I remember correctly, because I will say, I just listened to that podcast last week, and you changed my mind on it. It was a podcast I'd avoided for a long time because the narrative was what it was, and it just seems so strong against them that I'm like, oh, God, because I've heard you talk about it after that, like, oh, these guys didn't do anything. I'm like, are we sure about that? But I'm glad I listened because basically it seems to me like the State Department, or I should say the government at that point, had gotten to a point 2 years later where they're like, all right, we're not doing this. Dropped it, and then there was, I guess, like a gaffe, like Biden said something offhand when he was vice president, and then they felt like, about, like, oh yeah, now we're going to look at that, and then they felt like they had to look at it, and then they didn't charge these guys again until it was like, what, 4 or 5 years out from the event itself?
They went to court 3 times. If I remember correctly, they were not going to get away. They were going to keep indicting them, keep charging them until they got them, and they did. And I mean, we don't have to go into everything, but you saw all the evidence that was hidden, deleted, especially the drone footage. You know, do you remember that part?
Where she was saying that the reporter who you had in there, she was saying something about there's like 7 to 10 minutes where it's like they show up. There was drone footage above, and then it's gone, and you only see when they're leaving?
Yep. And they said, they when they were asked about it, they said, we routinely delete drone footage to conserve memory. But you don't delete a 10-minute piece of drone footage and then just picks back up. You don't do that. You know, they deleted the evidence. They steamrolled them.
How do you feel when you find out, get to the bottom of the evidence and see something like that, when, in this case, a country that you love, America, that you're from, that you fought for at the highest levels, served in the military, served in the CIA, you know, you've been around the block with some of the most powerful parts of the government. How do you feel when you see something like that happen? Does that make you lose faith in the system in its entirety, or do you view that as sometimes these horrible things happen, and when they do, we need to point them out?
I lose faith in the system. I've seen too many of them happen. That particular interview, I mean, some of these interviews get to me. You know, you listen to them, at least you listen to a couple of them, and we get deep, and it's, yeah, I lose faith. I realize politicians are political prostitutes.
Yes.
And they will stop at nothing to get what they want. And that's what that was. There were oil deals involved. There was a status of forces agreement that needed to be re-signed. And to just to know that there are people out there. I mean, these guys are, you watch the interview, these are just red-blooded Americans that wanted to defend the country and fight for the country and protect U.S. dignitaries. And they did a phenomenal job doing that. Like I said, Blackwater has never lost a principal, ever. And to throw these guys, 3 of them were going to prison for, 30-something years. One of them, Nick Slatton, was going to prison for life.
Without parole.
How the do these people sleep at night?
Yeah.
And how the are they still in? How is one of them the president of the United States now? You know? Yeah, it gets to me. It really gets to me.
Well, it's a career, you know? That's the problem. If I could sum it all up in one judgment, the problem with Washington is that it's a career. And that's not just the politicians. I mean, look at K Street. Look at the I mean, I'm not a Trump guy at all, but I will give him this. When he termed that thing the swamp, I mean, that was pretty spot on. I don't know if he came up with that or someone else did, but props, because to me, that's exactly what it is. And I think a part of it, just trying to look at it from the outside, is people will do things when they don't have to see it. You know, and you could probably relate to this when you hear people like me or anyone out there give opinions on the military or stuff like that. There has to be a party that's like, well, yo, you've been there, right? But at the
That's a big part of me.
think of that same psychology, though, with these politicians. Like, yes, there are some straight-up evil politicians. I'd say a lot of them are. But they make these choices behind a desk when they got 5 fucking staffers outside who are then going to go tell some other guy to do something, and tell some other guy, and eventually someone goes to prison at the end of that. There's no personal facing it with accountability right there. They're not like standing next to those guys' prison cells and look them in the eyes and saying, you deserve to be in here. You know, there's a piece that gets lost, and then tragedy, or even corruption in this case, I would call it, happens.
No matter what, it's a shame, you know, and these people need to pay.
They're probably not.
They probably want to, but
Yeah.
they need to, and it just keeps happening, and it's going to keep happening if people don't start digging into this shit, you know. And I understand it because I had the same opinion as you, and I had walked in those shoes, you know, and I just automatically assumed they were guilty. I mean, everybody's out to get these guys. And this goes along the same lines as the Ed Gallagher case too, but it just goes to show you cannot trust what you're watching. You can't trust it. There's so much more, you know, and these people are being told what to say. They're being censored. They're being told what narrative to push, and then you watch an episode like that and you see how bad it actually is.
Yeah, and I think look, to put on the tinfoil hat with it for a second, I don't think tinfoil hat at all, but I think there is a long-standing movement in this country that comes from within it and from outside it to sow division and to look at narratives never with any nuance. So at my gym a few years ago, I used to have like this little game that I didn't even have to play because it was just automatic all the time, every night. But when I would go to cool down on cardio afterwards, there would be 3 TVs on. And they were on mute with captions on, and they were always MSNBC, Fox, and CNN. And I used to just sit there laughing my ass off, watching the 2 on the outside tell the same story the one in the middle is telling. And they're both like, the left and right are calling each other completely evil, and the other side has absolutely no argument and painting entirely different stories about the same goddamn thing. And I'm like, how is this not programmed? Like, there's no way this is not literally programmed in, because it makes money and it also accomplishes a bigger goal, which is you make people fight over all these, not to play down some stories, but let's call it what it is, day-to-day, smaller, one-dimensional type stories, so that whatever the hell they're doing in the back scenes that they don't want you to see, they distract you from by getting you pissed off on all this stuff.
It's very true. The media is manipulated in so many ways. You know, it's an advertising platform that's for sale.
That's a good way to put it. It's good. I have another theory on this. Would love to get your thoughts on it, but I call it the front page theory, and I'm sure someone else has come up with this before, but it's just something I thought about. But if you look at all the major publications that now will see like tweets with their headlines when it's funny, because you're like, they actually printed this. You think like New York Times, Washington Post, whatever. I think there are a lot of good journalists at these places. I think that those journalists don't get on the front page very often. When I've talked with other journalist friends of mine who are in the field, the way it seems to come out to me is that if you break down the entire system, you basically have 80-20. On the 80% side, 50 of those 80 are really good journalists who really care and just want to get to the truth. 30 of those 80, they care, they're just not very talented. And then you get the other 20. And the other 20 are those front page for sure.
Look, just like you have lazy pieces of shit in corporate America, you got lazy pieces of shit in the SEAL teams too. And especially, not all of them, but it came with the next generation. You know, it came with the gaming generation. That's how I think where it started. You got guys that would rather sit on their fucking ass and play Call of Duty and play these video games rather than go out and do the real thing. And Eddie's around my age, you know, he's my generation. He was around when the war kicked off. He wasn't a SEAL when the war kicked off, but, you know, he was around them when there was a lot of country pride. It was Twin Towers got hit, time to go fuck these people up. You know, and that's what we went in to do. Everybody from my generation and prior, and almost everybody after, you know, that's why you join. You join to go in there and fucking kick these people's ass and kill them, you know, for what they did to us. But then social media came around, and you had guys that were starting to make it through buds and make it through the SEAL teams only to get out to become an influencer. Or, you know, and so you had like these small pockets of SEALs and other special operations units where that was the goal. I'm here to make a following. I mean, there's guys on YouTube right now that that are in or were in that are running around, and that's their whole focus. Let's build a following. Let's make videos. Let's do Instagram posts. If you're doing that, you cannot be a good SEAL and be a fucking social media icon.
Now
you just can't.
You were in for 15 years. You also did 9 of those years were after being in the SEALs. So like you had a legit long career, multiple tours, all that stuff. Do you worry about your type of platform being bastardized by people like that on the come up? Like, ooh, I want to be Sean Ryan, so I'll be a SEAL and then start a YouTube channel.
Oh yeah. I mean, do I worry about? No, because they can't be me. They can't.
Or do their own thing like you. Like
yeah, they'll do it. You know, it is what it is.
Introduce like 40 things right there. So
what do you want to dig into?
I want to dig into China. Because everything you say right there not only has a lot of truth to it, it could be completely true, and it's all problematic for, say, like, over the next 5 to 10 years, like where we're at 5 to 10 years from now, looking at race in the world, so to speak, like between countries. The thing about China that confuses me is, like, I had been turned on to looking into this maybe, I think when I was in college. I mean, I've been looking at China for a long time, very concerned. And it felt like for a long time, no one would talk about it. It even felt like for a time in the media, like you couldn't talk about it, which was very weird to me, very strange. And then out of nowhere, last, I want to say like June, something like that, one of the like kind of DC-ish policy institutes started putting out reports, like scathing reports about China. Then news dropped about the FBI dropping scathing reports about China. Then the media started talking all about China. And me for this country, that scares me the most. I don't think people have any concept of what a serious guy in this country, millions. And people were laughing their ass off at me. And I'm like, what do you think powers everything we do, including the full-blown supply chains we have to get people their basic sustenance every day? The fucking power grids.
Everything's done. Everything that you know is done. and desperation kicks in, there won't be any food. There won't be any water. The water that comes out of your faucet, what do you think, that you just fucking turn the faucet on and water comes out? No, it's run by power at a water plant. And so when the power goes out, there goes your water. There goes your food. There goes your heat. There goes your cooling. There goes your gas. There goes your transportation. There goes the world as you know it is over. It's done. It looks like a combination of what happens when a hurricane hits. You know, you can't get water down there. Why? Because there's no power. The roads are blocked. There's no power to clear the roads, to get supplies down there. They got to bring it in by air half the time. Then people start getting desperate. You see looting. You see crime rise. Crime's rising in the hurricanes just because people want some new sneakers. Wait until you see what it looks like when they just want something to fucking eat because they haven't eaten in 3 days. Or they're starving to death. They're dying of thirst. They're dying of heat exhaustion. Then throw in like some of the stuff you saw during the BLM Antifa riots. Add that to the mix. Because we're talking mass scale. We're talking an entire population with no power. The only way you're going to survive it is get out of the city, number one. And then you look at most Americans. I mean, there are no plumbers. People can't even change a light bulb half the time nowadays. You know, you think you're gonna survive with no power? No. Let them laugh. Keep laughing.
It's scary. I didn't know if I was. It sounds like I'm not. I didn't know if I was crazy to think it though when I was first really concepting this. When I was reading the reporting about that attack and what this could do on a mass scale. But I'm like, damn, if they took down like half the power grids in America for whatever length of time, a week.
No money, no nothing. Communication, everything is gone.
Am I crazy to say that that's like worse than a nuclear bomb?
Well, I mean, some of the nuclear bombs, that's what they do. That's what an EMP does.
It just feels like
fucking border down.
So
I'm missing something. What am I missing?
I mean, you're probably missing several things, but that's a lot right there.
Yeah,
that's
just
enough.
Those things right there. Look at the fentanyl crisis. They're shipping in the supplies for the cartels to make the fentanyl. On top of that, they're also sending in the chemists to teach the cartels how to make the fentanyl. Now, what do? We went from heroin, now we're at fentanyl. Now, according to Luis Chaparro, who I've had on my podcast a couple of times,
awesome. Yeah.
Now they have the next thing that's going to overtake fentanyl, which is even more deadly than fentanyl.
What's that?
I can't remember the name of it, but it's already been introduced. It's already coming through. Why aren't we locking our fucking border down?
So here's a difficult question that you'd be a good guy to ask as someone who worked in the CIA. When I hear something like that, one of the conspiracies online, because a lot of people don't like the CIA. I hear about that all the time when I bring on some of these guys. I think it's way overboard. But, they'll get on the CIA for doing things that are very, very uncomfortable, or think they do things that are very uncomfortable. Like they talk about, CIA involvement with the cartels, for example. When I hear something like this, where you have China training chemists in the cartels how to make this shit, it tells me that perhaps in what is a very dirty world, you don't have to like it, but that's what it is. Why the fuck aren't we running, like, if we can't end the cartels because they're not in our country technically, so that's not easy to do, why the fuck aren't we running some missions undercover to fucking work with them? Like, as I know how uncomfortable that sounds to people, but like if that would stop a fentanyl crisis here, forget the border for a second, that's a whole nother point. But like, why are we not doing that? That seems like a pretty geographically easy thing for us to pull off.
I don't know, maybe we are. I don't know why we wouldn't be doing that. But in the end, if we were to start doing that, it would just be a money game. It's going to be because the cartels, so maybe we're being outspent. Or maybe nobody gives a shit.
That would really work.
You know,
Both
but what I'm saying, the reason I kind of brought up all these angles is all they have to, once they pull the trigger on one, they just pull the trigger on all of them. There goes the supply chain. Hey, let's release another pandemic. Kick up the fentanyl crisis. Destroy the meat plants. Like I said, a lot of our food stuff is coming from there now too. You know, truth be told, I'm trying to start a supplement business. I don't want to get too in the weeds on what it's going to be. Turns out, all of the ingredients that I want in the supplement is from China. Even the stuff that says it's made in the U.S. or it's sourced in the U.S., if you really dig, it comes from China. But, so you see what I'm saying? They could have our power grid, kick the fentanyl crisis up, then we have the propaganda piece. I mean, all these things, once they all go, it's over. I mean, they're just set up. It's not like, hey, we're just going to send an army over there and take these fuckers out. That's not how it goes. It's a domino effect. We're going to kick one off, then all this shit's going to happen. You know? And that's what I'm saying. It's already happening. It's already in motion. That's why people need to get informed on what's happening. You know, 3 years ago, if I would have brought this up, I would have been slapped with I would be the biggest racist in the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Funny how that was like the whole attack. Like, God forbid you talk about another country and shit their government's doing.
Yeah.
That's just a crazy thing to me. But
and now look where we are. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And people are starting to pay attention, but they should have been paying attention 10 years ago.
why does... So, we've already established, and I agree, that the media sows a ton of division in our country, which is a huge problem and is leading to, some potential worst-case scenarios. Why then is the same media pushing this so hard now? That's the only thing that... Because I've thought all this shit, and even if, by the way, even if Peter Zan is right about some of the downfall China's going to have, one thing he does say is he's not talking about tomorrow. He's talking about 10, 15 years out. And we've already also established a lot can happen in the 15 years on the way there that can fuck us in the process. So that it does scare me a lot. But like, why is the same media who seems so intent on making money by just dividing us and pissing us all off now trying to unite us around a foreign power that 3 years ago, like you said, would be called racist if you even mentioned that COVID, came from it?
I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'd love to be able to answer that. Maybe it's, I mean, you know they're failing. Everybody knows media's failing, and they're, I mean, they're not going to go out without a fight. Whatever's going to get people to click on their bullshit, they're going to click on it, and I mean, man, I really hate going into this, I don't like getting into politics, but I think a lot of it had to do with, Trump was tough on China. He was extremely tough on China, and that's why it all came out. You're a racist. You don't like China. You think this virus came from China. You're a racist. And it sucks that they did that because that word doesn't even carry the weight that it should anymore because it's been overused. But I think that's a big part of it. Now they're trying to make this new guy, look like some kind of a fucking hero when he's just, he doesn't.
You talking about Biden?
Yeah, I'm talking about Biden.
They're making him out to be a hero?
I mean, yeah, they're trying everything they can.
I think they're trying to make him look competent, and I don't think he's competent. I don't know if they're making him a hero.
Well, whatever.
That's hard to do.
All right, hero, I don't care. They're trying to make him look good.
Right.
Why are they trying to make him look good?
Because they like him better than Trump. They're that small-minded.
Similar skill set. They go, gone, get out. And so, and then that goes all the way into, tradecraft. How do you follow somebody? How do you tail somebody? How do you know if you're being followed? Did you catch the guy that was surveilling you on that training op? All these kind of things.
Did you have already through the Navy SEALs training in that?
Yeah, did.
Okay. So that's interesting. I wasn't really sure about that aspect within the SEALs because, again, it's like, you know, you're usually kitted up going in and kicking doors. I wouldn't associate that together. But
most guys don't. I got lucky, and I got some training with the MI6. I lucked out.
The MI6, like the British MI6?
Yeah, when I was in the teams.
Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not terribly exciting to talk about, but I don't mind going through it. We were going to go into Bosnia, basically, and we were going to be on war permits. Back
Sounds
when the
fun.
Bosnia-Kosovo stuff was going on.
Yeah.
I got yanked from that and put into Afghanistan because that was more important at the time, obviously. But yeah, they brought in a team of MI6 guys to actually teach us how to blend in, how to follow somebody in a team of 4, how to act if you're following somebody and they compromise you, start talking to you. What do you do if I follow you into the elevator and we're heading up to the 20th story of the Bank of America building and you ask me what time it is and I shit my pants, you know? And that's what I did the first time. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm supposed to be following this guy. But they teach you, you know, how to be comfortable in situations. If you're following somebody in a mall and you're a 23-year-old guy who they put you in uncomfortable places. So let's say, you know, you're following a woman who goes into Victoria's Secret, and now you got to go into Victoria's Secret as a male and act like you're not following this woman, you know, and how to act and how to ask questions.
So what do you do in that situation?
You got to get comfortable real quick, you know, and you have to kind of pre-plan this stuff. Like, what am I going to do if this person thinks I'm following them and they turn around and ask me, hey, what time is it? Hey, why are you following me?
So what would be like a basic thing you'd do in that situation? I mean, you say act comfortable real quick, but you just like answer them with the time and then keep going, or
Yeah.
that's it?
Yep. I mean, it's up to you how you present yourself, but the wrong thing to do would be like, it's 10:32, you know, because then that's you know what I mean? That's a dead giveaway. So yeah, the correct thing to do would be like, oh yeah, it's almost dinner time. It's 4:30, 4:45, you know, and that's, you know, you have to act like you belong, and that's extreme. That's like, as easy as it sounds, it's extremely hard to do when the pressure's on.
Do you have like?
What do you do? You know, how do you, when somebody thinks they're being followed and they start speeding up and you lose them? Are you going to speed up and follow them? Because that's another tactic that people will use.
Well,
Like,
what do
all
you
right,
do in that situation?
You just drive past them and let somebody behind you in the team follow up.
Oh, because you got backup.
Or if you lose them, then you lose them. But losing them, you pick them back up somewhere else. But you do not want to fucking compromise yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they think you're following them on the highway and they hit 100 miles an hour and start weaving in and out of traffic, the thing you don't want to do is go 100 miles an hour and start weaving in and out of traffic right after them. You know, you just continue on, normal day, and hopefully their paranoia drops, you know. They teach you how to make a pattern of life and how to work outside of that.
Yeah, Andy and I have talked about this. So
You
can
know.
you explain that just for people who haven't heard that episode? When you say pattern of life, this is you. Andy was explaining it in a context of like, this is how they catch people if they're a spy, because they look at the one thing that they switch up or something like that.
Yep, exactly. That is what they do. You figure out people's pattern of life, they figure out your pattern of life. Another reason this shit's all important is because, yeah, if you're the thing that this stuff gets really complicated, but you know, when you're out there and you are surveilling and you are using tradecraft and following people, you also have all these other entities, China, Russia, Iran, they're all in these places too. And so it becomes this enormous spy game where you're like, shit, that's who I want to go after. But this guy who's following me can't know that I'm after that guy, because then they'll try to get to that guy first, and this motherfucker over here, you know what I mean? And so it's identifying all of these different spy games happening all at the same time, or anything any other country does.
What?
Unfortunately, sometimes bad leadership will bring a bad rap to an organization, and people have a right to be pissed. I don't fucking blame them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel the same way about the FBI, but I know lots of people that work for the FBI, and they're not bad people.
Yeah.
But, so I get it, man. You know what I mean? It is, bad shit has happened. A lot of good stuff's happened too.
The thing I always try to remember is that last point you're making right there. It's like, we don't really see the good shit.
Yeah.
You generally only hear about the bad shit,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes, you hear it and you're like, that's bad. Like, heads need to roll for that. That is what it is. But, when I start seeing, we've talked a lot about today, like the division in the country and how things are pushed on.
Reinvent yourself. I mean, what do you do? What do you do as a fucking washed up Navy SEAL CIA guy? What do you do?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. The skills don't fucking translate. You gotta start a business, but I mean, you know how hard that shit is. Nobody's gonna tell you how to do it. Not that, and none of these guys expect them to, but some people just don't have it in them, but these skills, they don't translate, so you have to start over. You go from the apex of warfighting to what you go from what people dream about being. Fantasizing about it when you're little, playing G.I. Joes and watching the fucking Vietnam movies and watching shit like Black Hawk Down and Lone Survival and all these things, right? Nowadays, what else are they watching? Benghazi, all that kind of stuff. And then you come home and it's just all stripped away from you. And it's time to start over. Where do you start? Go back to school. A bunch of 18-year-old dipshits. You don't fit in anyway.
I think from the outside it seems like there's nothing that can even slightly approach that adrenaline. That's one thing, but the other thing is the sense of purpose. What I'm hearing in that answer you're giving is like the purpose is gone. Because think of it this way. Let's say you had a goal day one. Oh, I'm going to start business X. Make it worth $20 million in 10 years. That sounds cool, but at the end of the day, it's like it's a business with some money. Right? It's not... You can't recreate the life and death importance. Right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah. And the stuff that you would think that it would translate to doesn't. Police, FBI, these organizations where you think that they would be like, all right, we have these guys who've been operating at the apex of warfare. They don't want us. Because they think we're a bunch of loose cannons. When really, we are like the premier experts at target identification and not shooting civilians. Way better than anybody else out there. The precision that it takes to do those type of operations. You don't just go in there and just fucking smoke everybody. You're processing every single room. You're reading every single room, every step that everybody's making, every movement, all of it. There's no room for error, and then you come home and you think maybe I'll go work for the FBI or DEA or police department. I'll be a SWAT guy. They don't hire these guys
Because they're afraid of
one,
if they're fucked up or something.
yeah, one, they're afraid of the psychological stuff, which
seems your prayers have been answered. Not much, is it? Very nice, but could be better. Fair bit of magic in that one. Oh, bad luck. Try again. It seems your prayers have been answered. Oh, bad luck. Try again. Very nice, but good. It seems your prayers have been answered. Father bring you luck? Until next time.
Something for the cold and dark. Good. What else you got? Safe journey then.
Unexpected. Another time, then.
Who are you to demand such a thing?
I am on a song.
Oh, here. Good. Now, take a piece of the burning wood from this holy pyre and place it in the blood. And do stand back. Excellent. The Reverend Mother was wise to choose you for this task. The chalice is now ready for her. And please, do give her...
Thank the light you're back. The sister has taken a turn for the worse. Right after you left, she told me about...
Come to watch your friend die.
Please, save her!
Father Marius, as I shed my wicked blood, let it be purified in thy light. Let the light fill the darkness within all of us.
Oh, your pitiful shouting again. Are you
Let the light push out the darkness, hiding within this woman. Father, force this demon out.
I knew it! I knew you would
No! Stop him!
Stop this instant! The Reverend Mother will learn of this heresy! I will see you all burn!
Father, forgive me! Hurry, finish it!
Light, purge the wickedness.
enough? I tire of this.
Sister, no!
No! No! How is she still fighting? Impossible!
Sister, please, say something!
Speak up!
It's too bloody cold down here. Oh, light be praised! Yes, you...
Sister Rock, they...
Or if I am...
But...
My friend, give me just a moment and I will meet you outside. Yes. I can
Thank
if
you. What about priest?
I want you to.
Not while I'm in town. Do not feed that foolish dog. She was meant to be a hunter.
Very nice.
Too much sitting inside. I think I'm getting fat.
Less talking, more hitting.
Hail, Wanderer. Laid before you is the bounty of history. I see. A powerful calling. That's a bold choice.
There's a shrine west of here. I hope you don't...
Creature of darkness, for you have wandered beyond the reach of the light. Lift your sins, breathe deep the cold air. The path to redemption lies before you, if you have the faith to walk it. Your wounds. Let the ice into your bones. Welcome your pain. For the agony of the flesh is the first cleansing of the soul. Make your faith stronger than any hurt. is humility. Accept your place in worship to the Father, for he has shown us the way. Look into yourself. Find your faith. Feel how it fills the void within you. Remember, you are nothing without faith. Hold fast to the light. And remember.
So, I like playing cards with that bribe. Is that the kind of magic? You may...
You heard from Prava.
I will. Not everyone comes back, you know. Kneel before him, and remember, you are small, wonderful.
This is how you choose to approach me.
Forgive this intrusion, but
Tell me what you need.
I must traverse the Black Lake, and that cannot be done without your blessing.
If I've learned anything during my time here, it is that what we're looking for and what we need are rarely the same thing. I once thought I could find an end to this war, but there has been no resolution, only more pain. Everything I've done has pulled me further from home, from the place I need to be. This world we made was born from the impossible, and yet, like its creators, it rots from the inside.
I don't... Lilith has entered the ancient city. With your blessing, I can pursue her.
Your kind are And this world has been wasted on the crusades of the unworthy.
I can stop her.
This audience is concluded.
Back to Port Valar.
Father bless. What do you need?